Hello, and thank you for joining me today to discuss the information overload. We are going to take a quick look at the seriousness of the problem, ways to reduce the amount of information, and how we can reduce our stress levels. So what are the causes? Increased technology, the web and internet, the widespread access to the web. The internet makes research so simple. You want to know what the symptoms are for diabetes? How to make a perfect meatloaf or get your best deal on a car purchase? The internet is your go-to for just about everything you want to know. Email, the ease of sending email messages to large numbers of people has made emailing a main source of communication. And work. We are fed information at work all day through memos, postings, meetings, etc. Phone and voicemail. Some of us are on the phone and use voicemail more than others. Many individuals choose email over picking up the phone, whether it's because of needed documentation or maybe if someone is just more comfortable emailing versus speaking over the phone. Email has become much more popular. And then we have social media. There's Facebook, chat rooms, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and so many more. Again, this technology has supplied us with a wealth of information. David Schenk did a 30-year study on information overload and found that the effects are increased cardiovascular stress due to a rise in blood pressure, weakened vision. Japanese study predicts a nearly universal nearsightedness in the close future. Confusion and frustration. There are so many conflicting reports emerging constantly that you just don't know what to believe. A condition sometimes referred to as paralysis by analysis. And sometimes our judgment is off because we believe we always have the correct information on the internet. Now let's take a look at the information overload chart. Just because there's more information available doesn't necessarily mean one can consume more. The green line represents the consumer's ability to consume more content. Yes, it's gone up, but not that much. Now look at the blue line. It's skyrocketing and shows no signs of slowing down. Put yourself in the shoes of a consumer right now. Just for a second, imagine that it's the 1950s. You consume as much content as you can, going to your local library, listening to the radio and watching the nightly news. Maybe you also subscribe to the daily newspaper and receive a few magazines every month. That's about it. There's really not a big difference between the information you know is available and the information that you consume. Now fast forward to the late 1990s. You live in a 200-channel television universe. There are multiple daily newspapers and the World Wide Web is exploding. Suddenly, there is far more content created than you can consume. Today, there are over 17 new web pages published every second. So, what do I think has happened? We can certainly consume more content than we could 2 decades ago. But no matter how much content is available, we can't consume much more. And relative to the sheer volume of content available to us, we are actually consuming a smaller percentage every day. And email seems to be our biggest offender. In one study, people took an average of nearly 25 minutes to return to work after an email interruption. How many times do we check our email each day? I'm the biggest offender. I have my email set up so I'm dinged whenever a message comes in, which is a constant distraction. How many here today would say that they check their email over 10 times a day? Just what I thought, just about everybody. We need to reduce email overload. If you can't respond to an email for several days, let the sender know you received their message and when you'll be able to get back to them. Make messages clear and get right to the point. You can use boldface headings, bullet points, or numbering to highlight action items, and note who is responsible for each action item. Another idea would be to eliminate recipients to open very short messages, to just put the entire message in the subject line, followed by OEM. end of message. And whenever possible, paste the contents of an attachment into the body of the message so they won't have to open up an attachment. Email ping pong is similar to telephone tag. Avoid the open-ended questions. Instead of asking, should we meet at 10 a.m., ask, when should we meet? Stop and think before hitting the reply to all. Consider the email burden that your choice places on each recipient. If you wouldn't be able to justify that burden, remove the recipient from the send list. For your own sake, send less emails whenever possible. An outgoing message generates, on average, roughly 2 responses. And do a brain dump. Get things out of your head. This means creating a big list of everything floating around in your head. Also, immediately write down any thought that interrupts your workflow. Writing things down gets them out of your head, clearing your brain that's interfering with being able to focus. Follow the 2-minute rule. If you have a lot of little tasks, designate an hour every day to plow through any items that will take you less than 2 minutes, whether it be phone calls, checking your financials, or whatever the case might be. Don't multitask. Multitasking costs you by forcing you to decide whether to answer or ignore a text, how you should respond, how you should file the email, whether you should stick with what you're working on at that given moment or attend to an interruption. Switching between tasks will actually make you feel exhausted and really anxious. Try staying focused on each given project until it's completed. Limit the distractions of email. Since having emails come in every few minutes is so bad for your decision-making skills and impairs your judgment, we really need to trick our brain into staying on track. For instance, set aside, 2-3 minutes of a day for email every so often, like maybe every 2 or 3 hours. Turn off notifications so you're not constantly being interrupted. Many people have their email programs set to put through arriving emails automatically or to check every 5 minutes. Think about that. If you're checking your email every 5 minutes, you're checking it 200 times during the workday. Eat the frog first thing in the morning. We start each day with our energy for that day. As the day goes on, every decision, whether trivial or important, consumes a bit of our glucose. Questions like, should I put sugar in my coffee, draws from the same energy store as I have 1 hour to prepare for my presentation, but need to send off a proposal before noon. What should I do first? Important decisions should be made at the beginning of the day, when glucose is highest. If you eat the frog first thing in the morning, the rest of the day goes better. So whatever is the most unpleasant and most important thing to accomplish, do it first thing in the morning. So in closing, I would like to say that technology has been useful in enhancing our ability to communicate and can be our greatest ally, but it can also be a great stumbling block. Although computer processing and memory is increasing all the time, we humans that must use that information are not getting any faster. The human mind acts as a bottleneck in the process. We need to retrain ourselves to filter out unnecessary information. Thank you for your time, and I will be around for the next 15 minutes if anybody has any questions. Thank you.